Most people don't realize that a dog can seem deeply attached to you while feeling almost nothing at all. It's an uncomfortable idea, especially when you've poured so much of yourself into caring for them every day. But those quiet moments you interpret as affection might be their way of coping rather than connecting. And once you notice the difference, it changes the way you see their behavior forever. Stay with me, because the signs of this are far more surprising than you might expect. If this kind of honest look at our pets matters to you, I'd love for you to like the video and be part of these conversations. Number 1. Ignoring your comings and goings. Have you ever walked through the door and felt strangely unnoticed, as if your return didn't matter at all? It's an unsettling moment, especially when you've grown used to the idea that your dog should light up the second they hear your footstep. You start wondering if the quiet greeting is just a mood or something deeper about the bond you thought you shared. And in that pause, you can feel how much those little reunions actually mean to you, even if your dog treats them like background noise. What makes this behavior so revealing is how easily excitement can fade when a dog doesn't truly feel connected, even though other factors like personality or low energy can soften their reactions too. And once you notice that pattern, you start seeing another one. Number 2. Avoiding eye contact. Some dogs avoid your eyes not because they respect you, but because they don't feel close to you. It can feel strangely personal when your dog looks everywhere except at you, especially in those quiet moments when you're trying to connect. There's a softness in shared eye contact that most people don't realize dogs instinctively use when they feel safe, and its absence can leave you wondering what part of that safety is missing. You might notice their head turning, their gaze drifting, or their bodies stiffening just slightly, as if they're not ready to let you all the way in. What matters here isn't forcing anything, but recognizing that brief, gentle eye contact can be a fragile sign of trust waiting to grow if you meet it with calmness and patience. And once you start feeling the weight of that silence between you, another kind of silence begins to stand out too. Number 3. Silent treatment. You call your dog's name and they barely flick an ear, as if your voice is just another sound in the room. There's a small sting in that moment because you're used to believing your dog can feel the emotion behind every word you speak. When that connection feels muted, it's natural to wonder whether something in the bond has thinned, or if they've simply stopped finding comfort in your tone. You start noticing how their body stays still, how they don't shift toward you, how even gentle commands seem to drift right past them without meaning. It's not about obedience as much as it is about the invisible thread between you, the one that grows stronger when your voice matters to them and weaker when trust needs rebuilding through softness and steady reassurance. And that would be easier to accept if their body language didn't offer even more clues in the moments when they do respond. Number 4. Minimal tail wagging. A dog can wag their tail and still feel nothing warm toward you at all. It catches you off guard, because so many people grow up believing that any wag is a sign of joy, when in reality, the meaning sits in the subtle direction and energy behind it. You start paying attention to those quiet moments when your dog barely moves their tail for you, but suddenly comes alive for someone else, and the contrast lands heavier than you expect. There's a softness in a right-sided wag, a kind of emotional leaning in, and when it's missing, you can feel the distance even before you understand it. Your dog's tail becomes less of a cheerful signal and more of a window into how safe, relaxed, or connected they feel around you. And shared play or calm activities often do more to strengthen that feeling than anything forced or flashy. On its own, it's subtle, but over time, it leads you to notice the moments when closeness should feel easiest and somehow still doesn't. Number 5. No snuggles after mealtimes. There's something surprisingly comforting about a dog who chooses to curl up beside you after eating, because it shows they feel safe enough to rest with you. When that moment doesn't happen, it can leave a quiet ache you didn't expect, especially if your dog calmly walks away as if the thought of closeness never crossed their mind. You start noticing the subtle ways they shift their body just out of reach, or turn slightly when you lean in, and it creates a small but unmistakable distance that's hard to ignore. Sometimes it's simply a sign that a dog is new, still adjusting or figuring out what affection feels like in your home. But other times it hints at discomfort, unease, or even a physical pain they don't know how to express. What matters is understanding that post-meal affection often reflects trust, relaxation, and emotional warmth. So when it's missing, it's worth paying attention to how your dog seems to feel in the moments when their guard should be lowest. And that would be easier to brush off if their need for distance didn't become clearest when the day is ending and they choose where to sleep. Number 6. Isolation during sleep. You'd think a dog choosing to sleep alone is just a quirk, but sometimes it's the quietest sign that something in the bond isn't landing the way you hoped. At first it feels harmless, especially when you tell yourself they just like their space. Yet part of you notices how they settle far enough away that your presence doesn't seem to comfort them. There's a deep, instinctive closeness in shared sleep that most dogs naturally seek when they feel safe, and its absence can make the room feel strangely colder, even if you don't say that out loud. You watch how they ignore the soft call of your scent, how they choose the hallway or a distant corner, and the distance feels bigger than the few feet between you. Sometimes it's simply habit or preference, but dogs who feel truly bonded are often drawn to the warmth and familiarity of their person, and when that pull is missing, it quietly reveals how the emotional connection might need rebuilding. On its own, it's easy to shrug off, until you realize how different it feels when a dog sleeps close because they want to, not because they're told to. Reaching the end of this journey leaves you with a softer, more honest picture of how your dog tries to communicate their heart. You've already proven you're the kind of person who listens, even when the message is quiet or uncomfortable. And maybe that's the real gift here, the understanding that love is felt in tiny patterns long before it's spoken in obvious ways. All it takes is being present enough to notice the moments when your dog leans in or pulls away. Because once you're aware of those shifts, it's natural to want to understand the signs that appear when life finally feels good to them. Those are the habits that reveal a deeper level of safety and joy, the ones many people overlook. If you're curious to see what those look like, I'd love for you to continue with the next video.